Hello, my beautiful gemstones. Happy Monday. And yes, I have moved locations again. I have some company and they are in the living room, which is right next to my office while I'm still here at my mom's. And I wanted us to have some privacy and some quiet. So here I am. I'm doing the best I can. Yay. I'm still waiting to get some hooks for those backgrounds, but we'll be back up and in business in no time. This week, I put chill and chat and the phantom time theory because you guys have been asking us specifically for chill and chats. So I figured we could talk about the phantom time theory. I'll read you guys a little something. It's kind of a short thing. Blue Crossroads brought it up last week and I thought it was super interesting, but then we could just go into chit chat and hanging out. So let me say hi to the chat. There's only 3 of us here, or 4 of us. So Eris Manna, thank you for joining us. Salvador Soto, sorry. So nice to see you. Mike, so awesome and amazing that you came in. I am sorry about your recent loss and tragedy. When you messaged me, I was with my entire family in Burger 25 eating, so I really didn't know what to say in that moment. But if you need someone to talk to, of course, I'm right here. Jules Facets, hey, sweetheart, how are you? Blue Crossroads, and I'm assuming Shauna. And that's it for now. So why don't we... Oh, Tracy Triton, what's up, girl? Lotus girl, hello. Let's bring in the man of the hour and let's get into phantom time theory, or phantom time hypothesis, as it's sometimes called.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Mr. Ghost Dragons.
This is an interesting thing, but it's not very long because it's pretty much been debunked. But we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we can definitely just, like I said, breeze through it real quick. Oh, lucky Shauna. I was planning on doing that, and then I forgot that my oldest son and his girlfriend were visiting for a couple days, so I'm going to do that when I have the time. I haven't taken a bubble bath in so long. Tracy, this is my content discussions. So instead of, I don't know if you've noticed or if you watched my channel, on Mondays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, I always posted a video about a topic. It was pre-recorded, and the pre-recorded videos weren't getting a lot of hits or views, and a lot of people were asking for chill and chats with us just sitting and either discussing a topic or talking about our lives, our weeks, whatever in general. So instead of the pre-recorded content, I decided to switch to a live discussion program, chill and chat program on Mondays and Thursdays, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, Lord willing. But Wednesday nights we will be here with Oracle readings. And guys, a lot of craziness in my personal life has died down a lot. It's not completely there yet, but I'm doing a lot better. I'm a lot more focused and able to move forward with a lot of the plans that I had individually with you guys and as a whole for this channel, as far as Moon Bear Oracle and monthly anytime readings, all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to take up the entire show talking about me. And also, forgive me, I'm so used to Wednesday night just talking and talking and talking for 4.5 hours that I forget that I have a co-host for Monday and Thursday night. So,
No
yeah, but I can hear it already because it used to happen with Steve Stockton where they're like, she never lets him talk. And really, he would be talking over me like the entire show. Nothing against Steve. It's just we are both very dominant and we would talk over each other. But I would always get the blame. So not trying to talk over Ghost Dragons or anything. It's just I'm used to being the one talking for the entire stream. So let's jump right in, guys, to phantom time hypothesis. I'll read through it and then we can either discuss it or not. We could kind of just hang out too if you guys would like to do that. Kirby's 100. Hi, sweetie. Nice to see you. So here's a short article that I found on it. And again, I'm kind of on the fence. I lean more towards it having been actually debunked, but it's definitely interesting.
A lot of people still believe that it is possible. So
the year is 1720 CE, and by that I don't mean the year Jonathan Swift began writing Gulliver's Travels, the Pirates, Calico Jack Rackham was hanged in Jamaica, or Mrs. Clements began marketing the first smooth style mustard. Seems like that 1720 was kind of boring. In this 1720, a man kills a stranger on Facebook Live. United Airlines becomes a PR nightmare, and businessman Donald Trump is sworn in as president of the United States. If German historian Heribert Illig is correct, this year, so this was written 2 years ago, obviously, or yeah,
Yeah,
This
about 2 years.
year, this year, meaning 2020, is 1720, and that earlier wrongly numbered 1720 was actually 1423. Illig proposed the phantom time hypothesis in 1991 because something didn't add up about European history between 614 and 911 CE. There just wasn't enough archaeological evidence for Illig to believe anything occurred during those years. So if nothing happened, then what happened? A conspiracy, of course. According to Illig's hypothesis, Pope Sylvester II, the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, and Constantine VII changed the dating system to place Otto III's reign comfortably at the millennial year 1000, a more meaningful time than, say, 999, although Party Like It's 999 still holds the record for the most requested Gregorian chants in history. Altering existing documents, creating fraudulent historical events, even people such as the Holy Roman Emperor Charlemagne, who it is claimed was simply a King Arthur type myth, and tampering with physical evidence. This cabal inserted 297 years into our dating system, 297 years that do not exist. To back up his hypothesis, Illig said an inadequate number of dating medieval artifacts. I read that totally wrong. I don't know why. To back up his hypothesis, Illig said an inadequate system on dating medieval artifacts and historians relying on written, and if Illig is correct, forged documents make the year 614 and 911 a bit dodgy. Mathematical errors between the Gregorian calendars further complicate matters. So it should say between the Julian and the Gregorian calendars further complicate matters, making a 297-year gap possible. Illig also claimed the fact that there was Roman architecture in 10th century Western Europe shows the Roman Empire is more modern than we currently thought. Which that gets me, just because maybe they liked that style of architecture. Illig's not alone in this. University professor Hans Ulrich Niemitz published the paper, Did the Early Middle Ages Really Exist? In 1995, in which he claims no, the early Middle Ages did not exist. Between Antiquity 1 AD and the Renaissance 1500 AD, historians count approximately 300 years too many in their chronology. In other words, the Roman Emperor Augustus really lived 1700 years ago instead of the conventionally assumed 2000 years. Like Illig, Niemitz discusses the discrepancies between the Julian and Gregorian calendars to prove his point, but also brings up the fact that, per accepted history, Byzantium and the Islamic realms were warring at this time. But Niemitz asserts, quote, nothing can be said about this period because no historical sources exist for the supposed reform in this period, end quote. Could it be possible that everything historians claim happened between 614 and 911 be wrong? Critics of the phantom time hypothesis use dates of known solar eclipses recorded between 614 and 911 to prove their point, along with histories in other parts of the world that account for these missing years. Most historians say Illig and Niemitz are 100% wrong. Party poopers, a conspiracy theory spanning 1403 years, or if phantom time hypothesis is correct, 1106 years, sounds like fun. I was looking forward to living in 1720. I think I'd have made quite a good silversmith. And that was written by one of the authors over there at Mysterious Universe. So
yeah, they some people say the years from 614 to 911 were the years that were missing. In between those years. So 300 years that were supposed to be missing.
And fraudulent.
Yeah.
The amount of people that would have to be involved in this conspiracy is what makes it unrealistic to me. Not that it's not a really cool thing to think about, but it just doesn't add up for me.
Now, there is in a video that actually Blue Crossroads put up on Facebook on one of your posts. I watched it just to see what it had on my notes. He pretty much was right on my notes that I had done for other people. And I was impressed with the video. He did it real nice and simple. It was really well done.
That's why I wish we could share video.
Yeah, we'd be able to show it as long as we'd watched the copyright. We would have to interrupt and stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was interesting. So think that we're missing 300 years, but with the reason I do a lot of research for other people, but a lot of it is not as bad as people think it is. I do a lot of lost history about giants. There are pictures with giants in it, in them with in the 1930s and the 1940s. So they
That
tried
is
to
true.
erase a lot of stuff. Okay, so they do try to erase history. We know that for a fact. I go Telegram and look at a number of people. I'll put a list up one day of people to follow because they're the ones I give a lot of research to. And you're going to find that, maybe even in the days of Noah, we were a lot more advanced than they want us to believe. And it'd be easy to, hide history over the years because as new generations come in, just like what's happening now, they don't know, they don't stop to think about, when we had actual dial telephones. So, you show a kid that now, they're like, what the hell is that? So it's easy really to hide certain history. So it's easy. This phantom time could be possible.
But what they're saying too is that what this hypothesis is based on is like the
The
Anglo
calendar years.
history. And no, don't presume you know what I'm going to say. I'll come through the computer at you. Well, New England Dirt Roadie, that's actually a really good point. But what they're saying is that this is like all pretty much Anglo, right? Where
Right.
in China and in two other countries specifically, and I wish I had my notes right in front of me, which I should have for the video, but again, I kind of got thrown into being in mom's room. But it's like there was a lot of history that came out of that era. There was a lot of factual documents. There was a lot of artifacts. So this is only like in this part of the world, so to speak, and a little bit over, I think, in Europe that they're saying like there's not much by
Right.
way of proof. Whereas if you look over in, say, China, there is a ton of proof that
Yeah.
this, these years did exist. The point New England Dirt Roadie, from what I understand, New England Dirt Roadie says, what would be the point of adding 300 years of history? What I understood it to be is that the Emperor Charlemagne,
Right.
Otto the Third, and
Right.
one other person decided that it would be cool.
Constantine. The other one
Is
was
that who it was?
Constantine. Yeah, the other one was
Decided that it
Constantine.
would be cooler if Otto's reign was in the millennium, which for them was the year 1000.
Right.
That's all it is. Like these
Yeah.
guys got together and like got drunk and were like, wouldn't it be cool if I ruled in 1000? Yeah, I'm going to rule in 1000, dude. Let's change all the calendar. It's law. And like that's basically what they're saying happened. I don't know
Right.
if they got drunk, but
Yeah.
again, it's an interesting one. It's a fascinating one. I definitely want to dive a little bit deeper into this one, but just from the past week and a half from the research that I did, I don't really agree with it. I think it's crazy. It is easy to hide history, Mike. I agree. But at the same time, the amount of people, again, that would have to be involved in this and going forward years and hundreds of years and years, like nobody ever, I kind of just talked myself out of my point because I guess once everyone who knows actually this happened passed away, if they didn't write it down or orally say it to someone that they did this, there would be nobody left. There would be no written history of them having done it. There would be no oral history even of them having done it. So that's where I get stuck, where I can't say I'm 100% sure in my mind it didn't happen, that they didn't change the calendar so that he can rule in the millennium. But I just feel like it would take so much. But then again, back then, would it have taken so much? Back then, like today, yes, we would never be able to do this. But back then, when all you had was the oral word and written word and oral tradition, I mean, could something like this have been pulled off?
Yeah, he's got a point there too. I'll let you read it because my reading sucks.
It would be a lot easier back then for a handful of people to do this than today. Back then, 95% of the population were beyond uneducated and did not keep up with calendars or history of any kind. Yeah. And that, that is exactly the little piece of this that makes me stop myself from saying I 100% don't believe it and it didn't happen. What's up, wifey? So nice of you to come in. Yay. All the old crew coming back together again.
Yes. It's good to see.
That is really true, though.
Yeah, it is.
Most people can read, most people can write. Like, if you weren't from a certain area or aspect of society, you really didn't care about such things as calendar. Who cares what year it is when you have to, fight over a loaf of stale bread to feed your kids or they're going to pass on? You know what I mean? So
Right.
I can see it. What's up, Jarvis?
And this makes no, kind of sense too, because we came over here and we wiped out with our illnesses and stuff. We wiped out quite a bit of the native population just from sickness alone. So a lot of that history disappeared too, because there were tribes that we probably don't even remember.
So true. And when I come across that a lot, even like if I take myself personally out of it, but I think you and I have actually discussed this in one of your visits here. Just even watching TV, watching mediums, like Dead Files, I've seen it a couple of times where Amy has said, like, I see tricksters, but there's no Native American history in this particular land, and we all know that there has to have been Native Americans in that part. It's like smack dab in the middle of the country, so they had to have been some kind of tribe there, but there's no record of them being there because they were wiped out, and that's usually how trickster energy ends up coming up, to be honest with you. So that's a good point too. I mean, how would we know? I'm gonna just breeze through this second article and see if there's anything that wasn't in the first one. But they're both written by the same person, Jason Offutt, and this is okay. So I was wrong. It wasn't 2020, which is obvious because Trump was not elected president in 2020. He was elected president in 2016. So that was 2016. This was written a year later in May of 2017. Or is that the original article? Is this the exact same article, just called something different? Because
a lot of times I ran into that when I was doing research on this. I ran into a lot of articles that were somebody had just copied somebody else's work.
So the three people, Charlemagne was not a part of it. It was Pope Sylvester II, Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, and Constantine VII. But I guess what they're saying is that whole reign of Charlemagne actually didn't exist. And yes, but you know what? For a paid site, okay. Let me just find that other article I had, Stephen. That means you talk.
Yeah, okay. I got into stuff today. I shouldn't have probably dusted when I did.
What?
I said I was dusting today and it got me all agitated.
Okay, so here we go. There have been wild, bonkers, and sometimes even flat out insane conspiracy theories stretching back for some time now. Flat earthers, and I'm not saying I agree that any of these are bonkers, flat out insane conspiracy theories. I'm simply reading what Jason Offutt wrote. Flat earthers, clones of celebrities, and damn reptilian imposters, and many, so many others. There seems to be no end to our trying to come to grips with the reality that is presented to us, sometimes through hypotheses that may raise quite a few eyebrows with the average person. One of these must surely be the idea that not only are several centuries of the history you think you know non-existent, but that you are now living in the 18th century and most of what you know about history is wrong. Welcome to the weird world of phantom time theory. It all starts with German historian, publisher, and author Heribert Illig, who was a strong advocate of historical revisionism and had an obsessive interest in revising and updating conventional chronologies of prehistory and of ancient Egypt in particular. So this guy who wrote these articles obviously is not a believer. So it is a bit biased. I like to find more unbiased reporting, but
I had a hard time doing that.
But I could not find much with this. He then turned his eye toward the early medieval period, which he became convinced was suspiciously devoid of deep or detailed historical records, and so began to develop and concoct a hypothesis to account for this. His answer was bizarre, to say the least. As in the opinion of Illig, it was all just a matter of the fact that the year 614 to 911 AD simply had never happened. Wait, what? According to Illig, it all revolves around the Roman Emperor Otto II, Pope Sylvester II, as well as probably the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII. It seems that one thing all of these leaders had in common was that they all thought that it would be more meaningful to rule in the millennium in the year 1000 AD, as it was a millennial milestone in Anno Domini, or the year of the Lord. The problem was that they were several hundred years short of this mark, and so Illy claimed that they had conspired to advocate or advanced the European calendar several hundred years in order for it to be the date they wanted. To do this, they supposedly rewrote future history, modified the calendar, altered records, forged documents, and just straight made up events and historical figures, all in a very sophisticated, orchestrated, intentional transformation of history, leaving just about 300 years on the cutting room floor and making it 1000 AD. According to what has come to be called the phantom time hypothesis, everything that we think we know happened in the early Middle Ages either happened in other time periods or was simply made up in a series of what Illy calls, quote, divine chronological distortions, end quote, and that we are now actually living in the 18th century. And then they have a picture of Heribert Illig looking absolutely insane. There is a lot of quote unquote evidence that Illig and later proponents of the idea would put forward. Perhaps the main thing that Illig used to illustrate this hypothesis has to do with the Gregorian calendar, which was introduced in 1582 by Pope Gregory the 13th and is the one we use today. It was conceived of by Gregory as a way to fix a 10-day discrepancy that existed in the former Julian calendar, which had been put into effect in 45 BC. The discrepancy was caused by each year of the Julian calendar being 10.8 minutes too long. The common calculation by Gregory was that 1,257 years had passed between both calendars, but according to Illig's math, it was modified to be more like a 13-day discrepancy, making it more like 1,627 years that had already passed. There is also the notion posed by Illig that many of the events and people that supposedly happened during the mysteriously added years just don't mesh or add up. He cites numerous historical gaps and inconsistencies and claims that the histories of some figures, such as Holy Roman Emperor Charlemagne and the ruler Alfred the Great, were so unbelievable that they must surely be fictional characters. And that's where I kept hearing Charlemagne. Alfred the Great was so unbelievable. I said that already. Another major inconsistency, according to Illy, concerns the great city of Constantinople, which once served as the capital of both the Roman and Byzantium empires. By Illig's rationale, it seemed odd that the city began as a humble farming village in 558 AD and yet was completed in 908 AD, meaning that it inexplicably took 350 years to construct the city, a figure Illig didn't think made sense and with little to account for it. He also cites the existence of clear Romanesque architecture present in 10th century Western Europe, meaning the Roman era ended later than thought, and various inconsistencies in dating things from the early Middle Ages, as well as a great reliance on written records from this time period, which he claims were likely forged, as evidence that these centuries simply never happened. It also is seen as rather odd that most of the archaeological evidence that has been taken from this era has not been reliably dated to coincide with those years, according to him. There is additionally the suspicious detail that turned him onto the hypothesis in the first place, that although there were many historically significant and wondrous events that happened before and after 614 to 911 AD, these years themselves seem scant of anything of importance and are actually rather boring, indicative of them just being sort of thrown in there. This is further exacerbated by the fact that there was also very little technological development or advance in certain areas such as architecture, ceramics, literature, and agriculture during the time period in question, and in Illig's opinion, they just seem far less fleshed out than the eras before and the eras after. This is almost done, guys. The idea that there was a conspiracy to just make up 300 years and that we are really living in the 18th century all sounds completely absurd, and to the vast majority of real historians it is. I don't like that because that's not unbiased reporting. Not only is all of this evidence of the hypothesis, which was first released in 1991, circumstantial at best, but it is also a very large leap to a bizarre hypothesis based on just a few inconsistencies in the historical record, which could have plenty of other explanations. There is also the fact that the hypothesis seems very Eurocentric and sort of brushes off the clear evidence of these time periods in the Islamic world, China, and the Byzantine Empire, also Anglo-Saxon England, And if this was all faked as well, then it would have been a massive undertaking that seemed beyond the scope of just a few plotting leaders who thought it would be cool to rule in the year 1000 AD. There are also certain events and astronomical predictions that seem to have indisputably happened during Illy's phantom years, leaving phantom time mostly dismissed as pseudo-history within the mainstream. However, there are actually a surprising number of people who endorse the phantom time hypothesis and argue and debate it to this day, with one of the most well-known of these phantom timers being Dr. Hans Ulrich Niemitz, who in 1995 published a paper titled, "Did the Early Middle Ages Really Exist?" We are left to wonder just how much water any of this holds, and to those who seriously study history, it holds none. Yet, that hasn't stopped the phantom time hypothesis from being discussed to this day, and it has certainly lodged itself up there with some of the more well-known and controversial conspiracy theories, for better or worse. So that's a little bit more information on what we're talking about here, guys.
See, I kind of agree with Crossroads here. There are no buildings and progress reported in between those years, even with all that said. So it's kind of interesting. We'll probably really never know the truth, like a lot of things.
Well, that's kind of like a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, I'm just okay. Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's what drives me absolutely insane is like we'll never actually know.
Right. We won't.
Hi, Shelly. Hi, anyone else that came in that I did not see. I think I got everybody, though.
Yep.
What state are we talking about? Housework makes people irritable. No buildings, no record of history other than Charlemagne. Yeah, and I actually, yes, Jules, they believe Charlemagne never existed, and who is it, King Albert?
Yes.
That Charlemagne and King Albert were so incredibly, I guess, awesome, or did so much. I didn't look up who Albert was, but that surely they must be made up figures like King Arthur.
Well, they say Charlemagne did all this building and major progress by himself when it was really the people in his kingdom. But
right,
they try to make it off as he did all this stuff himself, which makes him even a bigger figure, put him out there even much more. So it's an interesting, I always kind of lean toward other ways of this kind of phantom time thing. So, and everybody looks at it differently. So,
well, what are some of your ideas before we get into the chill and chat portion?
Well, like I said earlier, I think in the what I call it phantom history is when they've tried to hide history, and they are still trying to hide history. So I think that displaces time, because when you hide history, you actually displace years and moments and months and stuff like that. So you're also moving time around.
Right.
Now, this whole thing that we're discussing now is probably the most common of the theories and hypotheses. It was all done for Charlemagne to make him look a bigger figure than he was. So until somebody goes back in time and figures this out, you're really never going to know.
Don't laugh. We may have that technology sooner than
we may have it now.
Well, I mean, like the public, the general public. New Englander wrote, "The sword of Excalibur was found exactly where Fable said it was." Right, and that's what. Even with those articles, I got like very annoyed at the guy who wrote it, because not only was it it was definitely not unbiased. He obviously doesn't believe in it. He's calling us whack jobs while he writes for my favorite site on the internet, which talks about all things. Almost all the videos I did were based on something I saw on this site where I went and researched it independently. But you should not be writing for something like that if you're unbiased. But this guy, Jason Offutt, aside, King Arthur's he's real to me. I never questioned whether or not King Arthur was real until I read this. He's obviously real. I've seen people
Merlin
that have channeled King Arthur, and also the Nick Redfern, one of my favorite authors. So currently writing a book on the Black-Eyed Kids, and he writes about the men in black, the women in black, the Black-Eyed Kids. So he has a book called The Black Diaries, and where he talks about how this has affected his life, and he throws in encounters. So what he was saying is that one of the people that had, I believe, reached out to him personally about an experience they had had with, I believe it was women in black, but it could have been men or men and women. But I think I specifically remember women, where he said that this guy who had dedicated his entire life to looking for King Arthur's tomb, like his burial spot, was visited and told to stop searching because King Arthur's tomb was like holding down a portal from like hell.
Yeah,
And that
that's
if it
the
were to
myth.
be
Yeah,
found, then the demons would rise. It would be basically the start of Revelation, right?
right.
So I, not only because of this, but this because I believe in Nick Redfern, I believe in the things that he says, but like for this guy to just go in there and be like, oh, just like King Arthur, I'm like, wait a minute, like that to me completely discredits anything and everything that guy said, because King
Right.
Arthur to me is a very real figure. Vixen Doe, congratulations on moving into your own apartment with your cats. Finally, I am so proud of you taking the universe's advice and kicking butt. And just remember, the universe does things for us, not to us, and works for us and not against us. And that's something I'm trying to keep in my head as well. And to just move on that for a minute, because I want to address this, looking at things that we feel happen to us, things that people we care about do to us. When we can step back and we can be upset about the things that they do or the things that they've done to us, but there is always a role that we play in one way or another. Now, not like obviously, like if you're randomly attacked on the street by someone you never met, you didn't play a role in that. But there's always some lesson to be learned. And once we learn those lessons, we release karmic baggage, guys. So Vixen, I hope that you hold on to that you don't start rethinking your decisions, and understand that it's a slow, sometimes lonely and painful road and process. But in the end, what's going to be offered to you, the abundance, the blessing, your birthright as a human being, is going to be so incredibly amazing on this journey that you're on. And I'm just so proud of how far you've come. I'm so proud of you. And I just really, I really think that needs to be said. Taiwaz, what's up? I didn't even see you come in.
It's good to see her.
Yeah.
Well, we can go on to whatever you want to talk about, folks. I'm good either way.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do. You guys have been asking for a chill and chat, so
We're chilling and
chat.
I've been running around all day. I'm ready to chill.
I just watched the Dennis the Menace Christmas special, which was adorable. I was getting all emotional at the end.
Oh, of course.
What's up, Blue Heron?
I'm waiting to watch the new Christmas Story one. I love the Christmas Story, so I'm waiting closer to Christmas to watch it.
I didn't know there was a new one, but
they made a new one. It's on HBO, and it's all the original actors. Of course, a couple of them have passed, but it's all the original kids, so it should be really good.
That sounds so cool. Yes, yeah. Taiwaz, have a safe journey coming stateside over in my neck of the woods. If I drove, I would totally come out and meet you. My mom, my oldest son, my future daughter-in-law, and Damien are downstairs watching The Terrorizer Part 2, because last time Kyle was here, we watched The Terrorizer Part 1, and it was just insane. Blue Heron, I'm looking that up right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, not Blue, because I looked at Blue Heron's name. Jules, sorry about that. Cuckoo Wedge. Are you talking about the Pukwudgie? I didn't put that together. I saw something about a Pukwudgie on Monsters and Mysteries in America. And I talked about them before on, I guess, a campfire story. I remember saying, because I couldn't say it right, I kept saying Pukwudgie. Let's talk about that for a minute. 20 interesting facts on the Pukwudgie. Pukwudgies are magical creatures who live inside wooded areas and swamps. They are considered spirits of the forest. They can appear and disappear at will, confuse humans, create fire, launch poison arrows, use magic, and lure people to their deaths. It sounds very Fae-ish to me. Puckwudgies have the ability to shapeshift into dangerous animals like cougars. They can also turn themselves into a combination of creatures and look half human, half porcupine if they choose. Every time I hear Puckwudgie, I think of those little flat-faced bush creatures, the really, really cutie-wootie ones from Star Wars.
Right.
For some reason, I think I what?
Ewoks.
That's
The
probably
Ewoks.
them. Yes, I always think of them when I think Puckwudgie, and that's not what they are at all.
No.
If you spot a Puckwudgie, you should leave it alone. Anyone who annoys one will be followed around by the creature and will either fall victim to its nasty tricks, like being stalked and having their memories forgotten, or they will meet a much deadlier ending. If you annoy a Puckwudgie, then they might kidnap your children, push you off a cliff, attack you with their short knives and spears, use sand to blind you, or persuade you to take your own life. This is very Fae-like behavior. I did not talk about them in my first book, but when I do Missing the Fae Theory Part 2, I'm probably going to bring them in. Jules, have you had an encounter, or is there a reason that you're looking into this or thinking about this? Yes, Taiwaz, okay. Please, safe travels. Keep us posted. Blue Heron, I'll talk to you privately about that. Black TikTok. My brother wants to know, anyone see the picture of the black Tic Tac that was following AC-130 and photographed by a police officer before it shot away at impossible speeds for a drone or a human? No.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. There's a lot of good video out right now, too. There's one over Brazil that's being seen almost on a weekly basis now. And it's not TikTok. It's an actual, it looks like an actual saucer.
Okay, I'm going to have to look into that. Jules says, anyone,
Sorry.
Yes, I live near the burial mounds of American Indians, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm being messed with by Fae or Puckwudgie. From what I'm looking at right now, they seem to be one and the same. I feel like with the Fae, unless you weren't roaming around in the woods, where like if that's what you were doing, you could have inadvertently pissed one off or did something to annoy or disrespect one by accident. But what tribe? Yeah, what tribe? I know we're talking about a whole bunch of different things, but that's kind of the point of a chill and chat. So
Yep. Yeah. I'm not sure the tribe. That'll be interesting to know. Now, when I go down to Circleville, in between Circleville and Chillicothe, that's where the Adena Mounds and the Hopewell Mounds are. And I know two of the state park rangers that run those. So we get in at night. I personally think the things that we see are Fae. It's real heavily woods around it. It's beautiful. It would be a place where I would expect to see creatures like that to be.
Okay. No, you're absolutely right. So, New England Dirt Roadie, yes. I talk about a war not just between humans and Puckwudgie, but kind of between humans and the Fae as well, because the human beings used to live side by side with all types of Fae. Well, we didn't live with like goblins, but we lived with all of the better species of Fae that wouldn't like eat us. So we all of a sudden, like the peasants were mainly like peasant people were mainly the people who would live and work in the same communities with the Fae. And the Fae, I guess, would access the human realm and come in and work with us and for us and all those things. But once there were like being a peasant started being, and we kind of got into like the more like lower, middle, upper class, like more modern times, we kind of forgot about all the promises we made. And we forgot about a lot of the pacts that were made. And it's not any of our fault right now because most of us don't know that history. And even those of us like me who have researched extensively into the Fae and blood pacts, and I mean, going back millennia, there's only so much I could find out because of what people did or did not keep in, you know, in the history.
Right.
So talking about phantom time hypothesis, that happens with everything where certain things are just left out. But the Fae don't really understand that because they're not humans. They know all of their history instantly, basically, upon being born, or at least while they're brought up. Because while they're not immortal, they live thousands upon thousands of years. So they may seem immortal to us, but they're not. And this history gets passed down right along the pipeline. We don't have that. So we could inadvertently break a pact, break a bond, annoy, offend. I mean, most Fae creatures are extremely ornery, especially towards humans, and they're very unforgiving. So I do. I know I owe you an oracle reading, and like I said, I'm going to do from whenever I do it, which was supposed to be today. Then my son surprised me that he's coming, but it'll be Thursday for sure. That I'm going to do from Thursday when I send it to you all through January and see what I can see. But I will. What I would say is, like, what kind of issues do you believe that you're having that you believe it's Pukwudgie? And Blue Crossroads, I am so sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that it's going the opposite way than what we're all hoping and praying for. So let's send Shauna a lot of love and light, and Blue Crossroads too. That's terribly tragic, especially around the holidays, but in general. Jules, what I was asking, if you get a chance, like what are you dealing with that leads you to the conclusion that
Yeah,
possibly
good question.
you're dealing with something like Fae and or Pukwudgie?
Don't mean to leave you silent there. I was typing in your email address.
No, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Here we go. Much better. Is that what you call your boxes? Helper boxes?
Spiritual helper, but I have the holiday ones right now, which have bigger crystals and like a lot more stuff put in there. I think the economy is just super bad. I haven't had someone get
Yeah.
like a personal reading in months. Like it's been rough for everybody all around, especially someone who lives off donations and at the mercy of everyone else with everything that's happening. But that's why I try to keep the streams alive, and I try to keep that personal connection with you guys, make everything that I'm doing worthwhile, not only to me, but to you guys as well. And that's why Wednesday nights, I love Wednesday nights. And that's why I'm trying to get more into chilling and hanging out with you guys. Okay, you've sent me the video. Okay, I'm going to have to recheck email on that then. I have so many different email accounts because it seems that after I have an account for like a year, something happens. And it's like, the emails I'm sending aren't getting to the person I'm sending them to. The emails coming in are not. So I don't know. And with everything I've been dealing with personally the last 3 months, kind of pulled me off of my professional game for a little bit. But like I said the other day, I am back. I'm doing better than ever right now, due to be doing even better very soon. So I've got to get back on the horse, so to speak. But I'm doing the best I can as only one person, guys. Even if you caught one on CCTV, which is spectacular, and even if you sent me the video, okay, that would be perfect. But like, can you just tell me some of the things you're experiencing? Are you actively being harassed, or are you just nervous that you're catching these things? Because if you catch them, you can usually get a vibe of, if you're getting this type of vibe that you're scared, there's usually a reason that's how it's affecting you. So, a lot of people have been coming to me recently with things like that happening, and also with hearing their name being called as though they're being, not like just randomly their name called, but like as though they and other members of their family are being lured somewhere, like in a basement,
Right.
in an attic, in the middle of the woods. Luckily, a lot of them, well, is that the way to say it? A lot of them are my subscribers, so they know better than to just walk off into like the woods following a voice. But some of them are really getting nervous about it. And I always say, like, when it affects you in that way, right, where you automatically at first start feeling creeped out, weirded out, even scared, worried, nervous, there's a reason for that. And if we had all hung on to our abilities like some of us have, we would know, okay, right away, you're not getting happy thoughts. You're not like getting a fun type of vibe, like something's playing with you. You're getting a bit of a dangerous vibe. And that's when I start to get worried.
Right. Yeah, because once they start doing not so good things, you got to stop back and relook at the picture. That's the first thing. Look at what you're dealing with.
Mike, that also, this is just like coming at me. It's all like starting to hit me like this whole community. When I talk about a lot on Wednesday nights, like light workers, and I talk about the astrology, speaking of which, hi, Bat Mom, and I talk about 2023 being a better year for us, that we're really going to be able to do our work as light workers, and we're really going to be able to feel the abundance come in and feel better as far as our frequency and our just the way that we feel, the way that our lives are being lived, the things that are happening to and or for us. Because I said it all last year too about 2022, and then things just took a drastic turn, and we weren't able to do what it is that we're set out to do. And when that happens, that's kind of when the world goes to poop, right? So we have to really stay cognizant of the things that are going on around us. And because I feel like that's going to change tremendously again towards the end of February, beginning of March, end of March at the very latest, where this should all turn in our favor. We should all start to come out during our come out of our dark nights of the soul and really be able to live to the best of our ability, our best lives. Obviously not every single one of us, but those of us that are really doing the work, that are really, and some of us that aren't doing anything, but are just going to get downloads and be forced to go out and do this work. There is going to be more of this negative type activity. And that's exactly how the entire thing shifted and changed last year, is because so many of us were not able to adequately cope with this type of energy attaching to ours, affecting us, that then we were not able to get out and do the work. And this is the type of stuff that starts to happen on a grander or more massive level. Like I said, email after email after email. Gemma, I need to talk to you. Gemma, this happened. Gemma, that happened. And I don't like talking on the phone. Video chats I usually charge for, but then I'm like, oh, I have to charge someone so that I can help them. And then I start going into that battle. So I try to keep things to text and to my live streams. But when it starts happening on a grander scale, where I see 15 emails in 1 week of all different people who they and their families are experiencing things like this, where they just have a negative vibe or a negative tone to them, that's when we really have to stand up, ask questions, know what we're dealing with, and stay focused on doing what we're supposed to be doing, what we were put here to do, or what we at least know in the moment is the right thing. Because otherwise, this negative energy totally takes over. And then we end up not doing the work. And then the whole thing shifts. And then we're going to have another year like 2022 and 2023. If these things, these entities, energies, creatures, beings, whatever it is for you, are able to throw us off the scent or throw us off our game, so to speak, right?
Now, Bat Mom, I hear conversations all the time.
Bat Mom, you were exactly who I was talking about when I brought that in, but I wouldn't say your name because I did not ask your permission to talk about your situation. But Bat Mom is who I was referencing when I said I have friends who, I mean, not just Bat Mom, but she is one. Hearing conversations, though, when you're very aware of and work with your abilities on a regular basis like we do, is a lot different. That's like when I close my eyes and I start seeing, I call them awake daydreams. I see on the back of my eyes, random people sitting in a cafe having lunch and talking. I can't hear what they're saying, but I know if I can, there would be a message there. Or if I could only reach a little bit further, right? And that's my spiritual team trying to work with me to build my abilities up. But when it's just an average, and I do not mean that in any kind of negative or derogatory way, when it's just a regular person going about their lives, it's very scary. It's very disconcerting, especially it's affecting her whole family.
Yes. Now I run into that every so often. It's really weird. Um, it is not, you just try to listen to what you do your best to listen. And it always seems muffled. Mine always seems muffled. I can make out bits and pieces of them. Now I have had direct conversations with other things, but that's a whole different story.
But again, you're aware of and
Yeah, that's
work
true
with your
too.
abilities.
Yeah,
You're not someone who has dormant abilities you know nothing about, and then this stuff starts happening, because that's when people start feeling that they're being haunted or that they're being
that's true.
stalked by energies and stuff like that. So I understand the fear, but what we have to do is ask questions and is turn to people that we know and trust to try to help us get through it. And I'll give advice here, advice there. I'll mention some things in stream. But again, when I start seeing it like become a trend, like I've have in the past couple of weeks, it's like then I have to figure out a way to get involved as much as possible, because then I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't. So, because then what we have is the community of light workers, the majority of us, especially, in our stream, you don't get a stream like we have Wednesday night. I'm sorry, but you don't. I don't see it anywhere else on the internet, on YouTube, especially, where everyone is just so full of love and light and happiness, even when we're having the worst days. It's a special group of people. So when this group ends up being attacked in this way, and that's what it is a phenomenon attack, a psychic attack, an energetic attack, whatever it may be, it dims us, because we're coming at everything from a place of fear. Blue Heron, good night, girl. When you have a minute, message me and I'll talk to you about your previous question. It's pretty pathetic, actually. Talk about not being able to trust people.
Right. Things change fast sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, before you even know it.
Yep. Have a wonderful night, Blue. I was trying to type it out, but it's just too slow tonight. I started using voice to text because my hands have been so shaky lately.
What Vixen Doe, only because I'm not like I can't see the entire chat as it goes by, because I'm usually talking or explaining something. What do you mean? You said I had a dream where I had a conversation with a druid sitting under a dolmen. Someone gave me a book that had that exact picture. I didn't hear a word spoken though. What picture?
What the, what was the picture of? Is the question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That'd be interesting to see the picture. Now, I see pictures, and then later on, it's like deja vu. I'll see that same picture.
Jules, Eris, absolutely. Eris said, I'm having a difficult time finding information on attachments, which I think is due to having an attachment. Absolutely. 100%. Jules says, I don't know if it is significant, but I grew up as a wilderness child. I'm not sure what wilderness child means. I know there's a lot of earth people. So I've mentioned this a little bit before, and unless you really know a lot about the zodiac signs and astrology, you won't really get it. But if you know, you know. Oh, okay. Give me a second, Vixen Doe. So I have in my birth chart, so all of the planets, the Lilith, the south and north nodes, like I said, every single planet, sun, moon, ascending, all of that. I have no Earth at all. There is not one single Earth sign in my entire chart. Now, my saving grace is the 2nd, 6th, and 10th houses. If they have Earth, it tends to balance out the people with no Earth in their chart. Otherwise, they are slovenly, lazy. I mean, they don't like to shower. Like, these are the people end up being kind of gross in spite of themselves. But in my 2nd, and I believe it's my 10th house, I have 2nd in Taurus, 10th in Capricorn. So that kind of is my saving grace. So for me, like, I'm very not grounded. I'm very not about, until I started getting into all of this stuff, my abilities, the Fae, all my research, all that stuff, until I moved into the home that I have with Ray, I really wasn't interested in even being outside. And even now I have to like force myself. So people that have a lot of earth in their chart, or people who really love being outdoors, like Ray, for instance, I call them earth people. Is that what you're talking about as a wilderness child? Or are you just talking about like a child that is around a lot of wilderness and ends up playing in the wilderness all day and night, like one of those things?
Right. And I can get that. It's kind of like being raised as a flower child. They were, raised in communes, and stuff like that.
So humming music is usually connected with Fae. Excuse me, but someone humming music or something. So hearing there's a little bit of a difference. So humming music as in like a form of actual music that sounds like humming is usually Fae related. Um an entity or a person humming music is usually jinn connected and a lot darker. And I talk about this not only in my jinn and shadow person videos, but I talk about it in the new book.
Actually, music plays a very big part of Jin's lore too.
Yes,
So
absolutely. But humming specifically, like if you're woken up to humming, uh, you're probably dealing with some kind of infestation. All right, Jules. My parents were backwoods from deep, deep Virginia, West Virginia, nowhere, and they're very antisocial. So most of our time was spent away from other people, and I found comfort in the woods. Okay, so that would be to me an earth person, a wilderness child. So you, okay, so you obviously were born as a light worker, right? And I fully and wholeheartedly believe that, having never met you face to face, because you're a part of our group. People are not drawn in every single week. People are not drawn into the things that I'm doing and saying the way that you are and the rest of our group and community here on this channel specifically, but in the greater YouTube community as a whole, if they were not special or light worker in some way, even on a small scale. It could be your first lifetime doing something like this and you're just being brought in. So I don't believe it's an accident that you could have ended up just sitting in the house. That's what I did. I sat in the house. My punishment, when I very rarely I got punished, but when I got punished or grounded by my step monster, I had to go outside and like play with other kids. So, it could have ended up like that, where you were more took solace in like your room or something like that. You took solace in the woods. You found comfort in the woods. This could be so many different things. And this is why I wish that I could work with you guys each individually and more personally, and just do those face-to-face video chats and really go through with the cards and go through like your history. And I want that so bad with each and every one of you, like I add clients, because that's where we really get into things like, do you have Fae blood? Are you being harassed by a Pukwudgie and or a Fae creature? Do you have attachments? Right. What are your attachments? How can we get rid of them energetically through the ether? Because there's energetic healing that I can do that I don't even have to touch you. And I learned how to do this. This isn't something, I guess I was born with some of it, but I learned it, and I've been studying it, and I'm studying, I forget what it's even called, but it's something it's something really cool that I'm learning how to do. Stephen, do me a favor, take over for a second while I look this up.
Yeah. Batmom, it only dangerous outside if you make it dangerous outside. I hate to say it that way. I'm like Gemma. Everywhere I go, I see something. Sometimes a lot of times, I can't turn it off. I know Gemma tries or does, but I can't even ignore it. I mean, everywhere I go, and I do all the running in this house. I do all the shopping in this house. I go just about everywhere. And it's like I have to. Believe me, if I could lock myself away for about a month, I'd probably sleep. But it's not always that easy. So you got to make best with what you got. And going outside is important because you need to touch the ground barefoot once in a while to feel the earth. Because that's important. It grounds you.
Right. And that's literally what it means. But Batmom, I understand what you're saying. She's talking about human beings, but and I agree 100%, which is why I avoid them at all costs. Stephen, with your abilities, I know you say you can't turn things off, but I don't know if it's that you can't purposely turn everything off. Because I mean, we've been to places where you've seen something and I've seen something, like the hospital. You brought me to my doctor twice and we've gone in.
Yeah, because I know I was seeing stuff that you weren't seeing. Sorry.
No, but there are things that like you just said, that like I see and I notice that you don't notice. So I think there is a part of you that shuts off sometimes to certain things because you're actively, like, nobody sees everything
No,
all of the time. Do you know what I
no.
mean? But as far as I think you could, if you devoted time to it, I just don't really think you care to because you're so used to it by now, which I
Yeah, I
totally
am.
understand. But I
I
think
see the weird
if
stuff.
we spend any amount of time on trying to get you to learn how to turn it off a little bit, I think you'd be able to.
You think?
Um,
That's interesting because I've tried. I've tried
Mike
everything.
Mike
But
Roberts, yeah, I'm not big on people in general either. Um, you know, but I wonder sometimes if that comes from my human experience rather than my spiritual abilities, my spiritual mission. It comes from my human experience, right? uh Being
yes,
beaten down literally and physically, being cheated on, being abandoned, feeling unloved, unwanted, not good enough, ego getting in the way. That's our human experience doing that to us. So
right.
what we have to realize, and it's so hard in the moment, so hard, okay, I get it, but what we have to realize is those are the things that we came here to experience for a reason, right? Like I tell you guys, my twin flame, um, just because someone's your twin flame and you're destined to meet them, you're bound to meet them, and you're probably going to have a romantic relationship with them. But that does not mean that your twin flame's your high school sweetheart, you'll be with them for 50 years. That does not mean that you'll even end up staying with your twin flame. It'll mean it'll be the most painful breakup in your entire human life on this side of it, but it doesn't mean everything will work out. And jumping from one thing to another because I want to get to what everyone is saying. Um, Jules says, I also have an abnormal fear of the dark. It terrifies me regardless of the surroundings. One of the first things I say in my new book is about my lifelong, seemingly irrational fear of the dark. It's not a fear of the dark, it's a fear of what's in the dark, the darkness, right? Because probably intuitively, based on something with your frequency or your energy, that there is something there. And if it's been happening since a child, you probably had something happen to you. Usually it happens before the age of 5 or 6, that you formed in it, that formed some kind of attachment to you that now feeds this fear. And this fear needs to be feeded, so that needs to be fed. So therefore it will make sure that every time you're in the dark, no matter what's going on, you will feel fear, because fear is what's feeding it. And that's where the energetic healings come in. That's where all of this stuff that I want so badly to set up these little group chats, 6 people per chat once a week, and do this mind probing, which I want to talk to you guys about, which I'm learning how to do. I'm nowhere near ready to start it yet, but it's kind of like remote viewing, but you do it mainly um, for people that are alive, and but you can also do it for spirit. So they did it on Channeling Eric, where they were mind probing a whole bunch of people involved with this. What is it? Because I don't watch the news. The Idaho Student Murders
Oh, right.
Investigation.
The poor girls. Yeah, those are people.
So they approached it where they use someone who specializes in a specific form of mind probing, and they got into the mind of the police chief. They probed. So what we do is we go in there, and if you just think of inside everyone's head is a library, right,
Right.
with all of these rows and rows and rows of like filing cabinets where you open them and there's all
That's
this
what I call
paperwork
my
and needs to be good.
filing
So when
cabinet.
you mind probe, what I've learned, and I've been able to do it just once for like 3 seconds in practice with the person that I'm learning from, it's like opening up the file cabinets and just picking through, asking questions, like the answer to the question. It's literally going through another person's memories and getting the truth out of them. And it
Right.
started obviously as some government stuff, and that's all conspiratorial, and I don't like talking about that. But doing things like that, like that's where this part of this channel is headed. And I can't wait to start doing things like that so I can help you guys in a more significant way than just being here to listen, helping you with Oracle, which I know is a tremendous help because I've been reading a lot more for myself lately, trying to get that tangible advice right there from spirit and the universe, but also so that we can get through things and get rid of attachments that force us to fear the dark, the attachments that the energetic cords that make us fear being abandoned because we're still cord stuck to the people that abandoned us, getting rid of that empath, clearing all of that stuff. That there are literally classes you can take, and you have to, takes like a year to get through one level. So it's tough work, and it's long work, especially when you're someone like me who really doesn't have a lot of time for that kind of stuff. But I'm still doing it, and I'm doing it in the hopes, guys, that eventually I will be able to bring it to you as best I can to be able to help you through a lot of this. But right now, the past, like I said, 2.5 months, I really haven't been myself. I haven't been as on point with helping in a lot of the ways I can because I am energetically, spiritually drained from my own personal stuff. But I'm healing, and the lessons I've learned, and I'm actually, while I'm unhappy about things, how they had to happen, I realize now that they did have to happen in the way that they did because I was not learning enough for myself. I wasn't putting enough of the work in for myself. I was doing it for you guys, but I wasn't putting enough in for myself. Richard Elmore, be kind. So nice to see you guys. I went
And
on
Gemma
like
thanks you.
17 different rants there. I apologize, but
And she sent you a little special gift on PayPal, so thank her.
oh, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, guys. With the holidays coming, I know it's really rough, and
Yes, it is tight.
I appreciate you guys so very much. It keeps the channel running. I buy ducks, I buy crystals, and I send out, the spiritual helper box. I buy the inventory and all that. The website I've been talking about for, I guess, since July now. I still don't have all the inventory, so I only have the boxes, I have the sprays, and I have the 10 milliliter oil rollers, but they are pretty awesome.
There they are. I still use mine. I'm about due for a new spray, though. So I'm going to have to hit you up for some more sprays.
I've got some really nice wintry scents. The fall stuff smelled really good. The few people who did order were like obsessed with my fall scents. So I'm hoping that the winter ones are just as good.
Good.
The seasonal stuff. Thank you so much, Miss Be Kind. I appreciate you. I got this thing.
We all do get thrown in the deep pool.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Been many times.
And you know what happens when it just, like I said, it just happened to me. When we think we're at our best personally, because we can't see things that are right in front of us. So the universe says, okay, you're not opening your eyes. You're not seeing reality because I was so focused on all of the good that I was trying to do and all of the help that I was giving people, that what was right in front of me personally was very muddled and very out of focus for me. So I had to be thrown into the deep end of the pool, so to speak. Thank you, Batmom. And now, like, I didn't even feel much anger. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel malice or hatred, or like normally I would want to blame and be like, well, you did. All I did really, and this is how I know I've kind of grown a lot, is that I kind of stepped back and said, okay, Gemma, what did you do to cause this? Like I said, we don't cause everything that happens to us, but most of the time we play a role. And understanding that things that happen to us that are so traumatizing or life altering are always for a better purpose and a better reason. And once we get to that point where we understand that other people's actions, even against us, have so much more to do with their poop than it has to do with us in general, ladies and gentlemen, that's grace. And I'm so proud and happy to have learned that in the moment. I just want to communicate with you guys and really help. And I think that's where, like, once the business does finally get up and running, once I do start making sales, once I do start bringing in enough money to do courses and seminars and do it well, where you guys are going to get what you pay for, I really think that we're going to just branch out. And even now as light workers, I mean, nobody can touch us in our streams because we just blast out this light and this
Yeah,
love
we
and this
do.
acceptance that when people come in Wednesday night, and even when I tell people they're being inappropriate, I try to do it in such a nice way that there's no way they can even be angry about it, you know? And I feel like it's we want to do that, but on such a larger scale, you know? And that's what the spiritual retreat down the line is going to be about. And it's just all of these great plans that I have for me, for the channel, and for this community. Carl, what's up, girl? Jules, you can get it on Amazon on Kindle Unlimited or paperback. If you want me to sign it, then you can text me or email me.
I'm putting it in right now.
Yeah, be kind. You know, I always knew that that was the right response, but I finally moved from this place of acting out of fear, like fear-based responses, conditioned to immediately fear, what's going to happen now, and that is such a lacking mindset, abundance, blessing our birthrights as human beings. So we're either going to accept that, the law of attraction, the law of abundance, the, law of manifestation, just like the law of gravity. Honestly, it's there. It is what it is. It works. That's what it's there for. But when we approach anything with fear, letting that ego get involved, we don't stand a chance. And we're actually, spirit speaks energy. It doesn't really speak whatever language we're speaking. So when we're feeling good and we're feeling positive and putting that positivity out into the universe, I'm going to have a spiritual retreat within the next 10 years. I am successful in life and in business. I am with my twin flame and having an amazing life, whatever it is. Then spirit goes, oh, yeah, you are. But when we're going, I don't have enough money, I don't know what I'm going to do, spirit goes, yeah, you don't. You know what I mean? Like, the spirit, that's just, it bounces back the energy that we're putting out. And it's really hard to be constantly mindful of that. But like with anything else, the more we practice being mindful of that, the more we can do it more often. Nobody does it 100% of the time. It's not possible.
Nope.
But that's where the manifestation books come in. The one for women, I'm a badass woman and I get what I want. Want is crossed out and it says manifest. The one for men says, I'm a badass man or something like that. Mike Roberts has it. I sent it to him. When we start doing that, yeah. And Batmom, you know what? You can make that happen.
The mind is so powerful.
Be constant. You have to be consistent. I know people who have healed themselves from really life-threatening, what is it called? When diseases are terminal illnesses.
Terminal illness, yeah.
Terminal was the word I was thinking of. Terminal diseases, terminal illness, with just their mind and a change in their diet. I mean, I've seen it happen. So I know that it wasn't just someone like trying to impress me or trying to tell me something. Be kind. You got that.
Lately I've had to step back a lot of times. My dad got sick on us the other night and passed out on us, and it was scary because, he's almost 90 and he was kind of coherent. But by the time paramedics leave, he was giving everybody crap. But it wakes you up, and, there's a lot of other things going on. I have to step back. I step back, I look, I reevaluate, look at both sides like I always do. You got to. And learn from what you've gone through.
Really painful experiences, trying to ask what I can learn helps me feel less powerless and less threatened. And that's because you're not coming from a place of fear or a mindset of lack. We should try our very best to approach everything from a place of abundance, a place of understanding or wanting to understand, right? They say this in recovery a lot, and I used to always roll my eyes, but it's so true. Solution based. So if there's a problem and you don't know the answer, instead of worrying about the problem, start trying to focus on a solution, right? That just makes sense, but that's not the first thing we think of. It's not the first thing I think of. I know that. Because when life comes crashing down on me, I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? Why did this happen? How could he, she, it do this? Well, what did I do to deserve this? That's my immediate thoughts. And then I have to take a step back and say, Gemma, who are you? Right? Let's change that mind frame. Everything's going to work out. This all happened for an amazing reason. I can't wait to see how this plays out and the abundance that's going to come in. And I have to say that out loud. Feeling stupid, so what? Lotus Girl, you were who I was talking about. One of the people I was talking about when I said I've seen it. So, hey Zurg, what's up?
A lot of people come in.
If done the wrong way, it fuels anxiety for sure.
Yeah, it can. If you don't do it right, you can make it worse. You got to be a little more positive, a little more stable. And getting stable is the hard thing. You got to get yourself stable first. You can't let your mind be all over the place. You got to calm down.
If you need to fear it and feel it, cry it out, rage, do that. Have a moment. Take a day, but don't take any longer, because then that your old friend, the ego, is going to come back in. And the ego can be a great thing. Don't attempt to climb that tree. Look at that branch. You're going to fall and hurt yourself. Okay, great. Your ego just prevented you from hurting yourself. Some people say it's rationality or common sense, but it's actually ego. But ego telling you, don't start that business. What if you fail? What if you look like a complete idiot? That's focusing on ego. So not starting the business because you're afraid of failure, or possibly even, like in my case, afraid of success. And that's why I stalled on that business despite having the money gifted to me. I kept the money. I didn't spend it, but I waited 2 months before I contacted the people for my website. And within a month, my life fell apart. So that's what happened there. I did that to myself, because had I started right away, my business would have been up, running, prosperous, and moving along. And I left myself stuck. Yes, she is. We all are, though. We all have powerful spirits and minds in this community. The people that last and stick around, and I'm not saying this because it's my channel. I'm saying it because Wednesday nights really have this amazing effect on everyone that comes in and even just spends a little time. Not the people that come in like, where's my reading? Give me my reading, give me my reading, give me my free reading, get their reading, and then they leave. I'm talking about those of us who stay and hang out and just kind of feed off of each other in the best possible way, not in a vampiric way, but giving each other love and light and hope and kind words make all the difference.
It makes a world of difference. That's what this world needs right now, is a little bit more unconditional love.
Especially among practical strangers. I mean, I've gotten to know some of you guys very well, but at the end of the day, the only person I've met in real life is Steven. But I consider you all my friends and family, and I care deeply for all of you. So when I'm going through something and trying to assess my own life and take my own advice and take my own spirit team's wisdom, and I have to take a step back, it's not so much for me like protecting myself from taking on your guys' stuff. It's from projecting my stuff onto you guys when you're already coming to me for something. And that sometimes is me acting out of fear as well. What if I get something wrong? What if something that my guide told me is different than what this person has experienced? Then I'm going to be called a liar. Then my reputation. And those are things that I deal with, that I work through, and certain reasons why I won't do certain things, and why I take classes to do things I know I can already do. But I want to make sure that I'm doing things the right way, so I don't end up hurting anybody, giving anyone the wrong information, or passing along the wrong advice. Like, it's important because people come to me for advice, and I take that very seriously. Very seriously.
Oh, Mike, we got your back. You smile all night long. It's good to smile, especially now.
Mike, I really am, so sorry about your dad. But again, like I told you before, he's in a much better place, and he's with you. So just remember that, when that fear takes over, that fear response of, I'm mourning, I have the right to do A, B, and C. Sure you do. But, he's still with you and now he knows everything you're doing. So
Mm-hmm.
there are no secrets between us and spirit unless they give us our privacy.
And it's still to this day, after what, 5 years my mom passed, and I'm in her house now. So every time I go buy something, every time I screw up, I always look up and go, "I know you're watching, Mom. I'm sorry."
So Bat Mom, I was actually thinking about that the other day. Bat Mom says, "Oh my God, guys, I had tourmaline in my bra and it caused an ouchie on me, and it was pretty bad." She sent me the picture. In my experience, one of two things happened. Either one, where you got the tourmaline from, it was blessed with something or touched with something that you had an allergic reaction to, or if you got it and didn't cleanse it first, it had an attachment on it, like it had already been used in some kind of ritual to absorb negativity, negative energy, and all this yucky stuff. And then you put in your bra and then you absorb that stuff. In which case, pay close attention to things going on around you. Like, did you start hearing these voices, these audio calls after that happened, or was it already happening beforehand? Or number three, actually another thing that could have happened is that you already have an attachment that was very strongly affected by the tourmaline and you did absorb that attachment. In any case, I would take that tourmaline and go off of your property and get rid of it in running water. So like a brook, a stream, even a lake, if it has like a filter system, that's technically considered. Like, don't flush it down your toilet, don't throw it in your garbage. You could also go off your property and bury it in the earth near water, but I would put it into some running water outside. Yep, absolutely.
Mike, he's can always be in your heart. My typing is atrocious tonight.
And I have crystal packs like that, like what Be Kind just said, rose quartz, put amethyst or black tourmaline and selenite beside your bed. I try to put black tourmaline and selenite in every package that I send out, if it's the first package I've ever sent to you. And then after that, like I have a chakra pack where I put, 7 crystals, one for each chakra. If you're having a specific problem with a specific chakra, then I'll go and I'll do a box for that. I always put, special gifts, and all of that stuff's going to be on the website. And that's why, like, what I try to explain to you guys what my inventory is, it's very hard. I don't have my scent mixes with me. I don't have any of that stuff, but I'm hoping to remedy that very, very soon. Like, I'm hoping by the end of this month to have that figured out one way or another. Try to find running water. If not, if there's even like a lake or a pond, bury it in the earth next to it. Um, the main point, if you absolutely cannot find running water near your house, like within a reasonable distance from your house, bury it in the earth. Just make sure it's off of your property. But I would try to find that water source at least. But again, if you can't, if it seems impossible, you need to get it away from you and off your property. And if you just toss it somewhere, there's a risk of someone else picking it up and then ending up, not having a good reaction or a good time with it, so to speak. So it came from Amazon. Yeah. I purchase a lot of my crystals off Amazon. And I usually don't have a problem, but every once in a while, like even when I buy bulk raw crystals, even the tumbled sometimes, but a lot of the time with the raw, like I'll be cleaning them off and I will have to cleanse or get rid of certain pieces because they either hurt or they feel weird, or I'll hold one and I'll get a weird, evil thing. That's why they say you should always pick crystals up like in person, like be drawn to them, be attracted to them, see how they feel. But that's not always practical because we get them as gifts. We get them off Amazon. Amazon has beautiful pieces. But that's the risk that you take. Definitely, if you don't want to get rid of it, you can try saging it and saying a prayer over it. But if it's risky because it might not work. What's up, Nightmare? No, you may not use a hose. I actually, if you put it like in the street and it runs downhill, as long as it's not on your property, that could technically, like if you put it in a sewer, I mean, water runs through the sewer. I don't see why that. It's more about giving it back to the earth though, which is why you should bury it or throw it in a running water source. Be kind. Somebody mentioned them the other night, and I think it was last Wednesday or last Thursday. We did Oracle on Thursday, and I showed them the piece that you had sent me the gift for. And someone else said Sage Goddess, and I was like, oh, I know them because Be Kind had sent me a gift card, and I got that beautiful piece of peacock obsidian.
I think that was Pixie that brought that up.
Was it, Lara?
Yeah. Yeah, I love the stuff that Lotus gets you, man. She gets you some pretty stuff. Some of that stuff is just gorgeous, like holy crap.
Yeah, and I keep it, like I very well keep it. I'm very protective of my crystal collection. I've spent a lot of money on it. Others have spent a lot of money on it. And even the pieces that I give out either as free gifts or that I send are always, I try to make them like the nicest pieces that I have. I always cleanse and clear them. Like my sprays are made with moon water, charmed crystals. Well, it could be cleansed. There's just a chance that that might not work because we don't know what caused that to happen. We don't know how to cleanse it, right? So you can try running sage over it and saying a prayer, but that might not work. An easy way to tell, I mean, I guess it's not easy for you because you ended up with that mark, is to put it back in your bra and see if it leaves the same mark. If it does. Ah, very cool. Lemurian seed. Yes. I want to get a nice big old chunk of that. I only have little pieces right now, but it's so beautiful. Oh, geez, it can't be cleansed. My ex told me that I had demons, and he would say he was going to remove them, but I don't know. When he would touch me, that spot burned. The whole thing was crazy. I don't believe that you have demons, but I believe everybody has attachments, and some are very vile and some are very dangerous, as opposed to, you know, the smaller ones that I see on people all the time. You know, some people, like addiction demons, are absolutely horrific. If you saw season 5 of American Horror Story Hotel, that thing in the beginning that gets that young kid, that Sally kind of sicks on him and gets to stop doing that nasty thing to him, that's basically an addiction demon, and it's not that physical, but they're one of the only attachments I've ever seen that claim, because I don't know that this is true because I'm not in spirit and I don't have total recall, they claim that if you die with that specific attachment, they're allowed to keep your soul for X amount of time and torture it. But I don't believe that things like that happen, just because of things I've experienced and seen. But that particular attachment, that particular demon does claim that all the time, and it will show itself doing it. But again, you know, the devil's a liar, so. It could be a transference, Batmom. He could have actually been transferring his own demonic, lower vibrational, lower frequency attachments onto you, or they could have been working through him to feed off of you. So therefore, when he touched you in this way, basically calling them out or calling on them, they came out to feed on something or someone much more pure than he was, pure of energy and spirit. I mean, you know, someone like that is lower frequency, lower vibrational, not a light worker, not working on themselves, not caring about the collective, maybe unaware of the collective. And those type of people are pretty horrible, and they're just gross energy and very bad. So when he was saying things like that, it probably got the attention of whatever was attached to him, and they therefore went out and fed off you. And you know, I believe we could all benefit from energetic healings. I don't know how to personally get one myself because there's like none around me in my local area as far as what I can find. Thank you, Ghostdragonzw, for the super sticker. I definitely appreciate that.
You're welcome. Sorry, I've been hacking.
Very much appreciate the donations. one thing I was just going to say about energetic healings. Oh, the problem I keep running into is when I find one in my area, I will go to it's like you can't call on the phone, or like no one answers, so it says go to email. When I send them an email, I get messages back from 5 different people who are like, I charge this price. And they're like very pushy, almost like old time car salesmen. They remind me of, where like, and then like, if I don't get back to them within like an hour, they're like emailing me again, like, hey, do you want this energetic healing? It's, so and so. And I'm just like, I just wanted some information as to what you offer, what your price are, where you're located. Can we do it virtually? Like, and it's like, you cannot get a human being unless you pay and book that human being. So there's no interaction. And that's the problem I run into often. Ghost Dragons, thank you. Everyone else who donated tonight through PayPal and or Cash App, I do appreciate it.
I'm
It's
sorry,
Christmas
I got
time.
into something.
I'm spoiling the crap out of the little guy this year.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
That's okay. Coughing is coughing. You're all right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm crying.
Nah. We're probably going to end in about 10-15 minutes, guys. I'm calling it an early night. I'm exhausted. But so this,
fun.
Go ahead.
Eating hamburgers and cheeseburgers, bacon cheeseburgers. And I got a hot dog.
This is exactly what we're probably going to be doing from here on in on Mondays and Thursdays from 8 to 9:30ish, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I'll bring in a topic which I may only do once a week, and then maybe Thursday we'll just talk, or I'll talk because I feel again like I've been blabbing the whole time. But again, you guys have to give me some time to get used to a different dynamic than Wednesday night. But I tried to bring you guys in and include you guys, and just know that I'm slowly getting back to what I'm slowly getting. I don't want to say getting back to where I was before everything happened, but I'm getting to a better place than where I was before. So if you just continue to be patient with me and understand that I'm only human too, we'll be just fine. Be kind right now. The main thing I'm looking for is Reiki, but I'm also looking for people who can get rid of attachments virtually. I can't get rid of all of my own attachments. So even the small percentage that I can get rid of, it's like it makes a little bit of a difference, but I have so many attachments. I have so many cords to so many toxic people and relationships. So it would be, I guess, empath cleansing and or cord cutting and or just attachment clearing, or even Reiki would be great just to start off with. Really, any kind of energetic healing done by someone other than myself, because a lot of it is very, very hard to do on your own and to yourself.
It's been a long week. It's been a weird week.
Be kind. That would be amazing. I would really appreciate that. It's worth a shot, because for everything that I'm learning and in all the ways that I'm growing and changing, that I'm so proud of myself and so just feeling so good, there's always these other things that I know exist in the back of my mind that I can do nothing about. And these type of things really do hold us back. And most of the populations of the world is not even aware of them, that we have attachments, that we have things like cords to anyone we've had any kind of significant connection with, even on a very low level of significance, we still cord bond with people. And the only people we should be cord bound with are soulmates, twin flames, and that's it. So when we get all of these, I'm an empath, as are most of us, we attach to people very quickly and we connect with people very quickly, good and or bad. So when you're still attached to these toxic, negative people and relationships, and there's nothing I can do about it. For myself, I can help others, but I can't do it for myself. And knowing that it's there makes it that much worse, because now I'm like, all right, all this. And then, it starts this circle of fear, like this fear of, well, no matter how good I do, I'm always going to be held back by it. And then it starts that whole thing in my head. So I know just like some healing done by someone who is not me for me would be really amazing. I've been working with the Oculus, the Trip app for meditations, which has been really great. But they don't, as far as I can tell, for the Oculus, even the newest one, which is the one that I have, they don't offer things like healings or I can't even find like in the Trip app like chakra alignment meditations. I can find guided meditations and a lot of meditations and like escapes and really beautiful landscapes and things like that, but I can't find like what I thought would be on the world's best meditation app is like chakra alignment guided meditations and guided meditation for A, B, and C, and it's just not there. And I'm like, why? If this is the best app for this type of stuff, why are we leaving out all of these very important aspects of meditation?
IMD.
Who came in? Oh, what's up, Monica? Be kind, yes. And please, if you wouldn't mind, I would really love to get that information and see what I can do with it, because I'm getting to the point where I'm like desperate, because I'm like, I'm excelling, I'm so happy, blah 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 blah, and then again that whole circle of, well, still connected to, you know, this one and that one. And
The Blue Cross might be able to help you.
I don't even have my driver's license, so, but good to know for when I get it. Yes, thank you. Yes, Monica, yoga is amazing, and that's actually changed my life significantly as well. I'm looking into like the foods I'm eating, the things I'm drinking. Still on the Red Bull, but I have cut down, and just like not again coming from a place of fear, but just knowing that it blocks a lot of the stuff that we put into our bodies is no good. You know, the vape, caffeine, alcohol and drugs, obvi, things like that. So I'm learning and growing. I'm on this incredible journey, guys, that, you know, 2.5 years ago when I started this channel, I had no idea that it was going to be like this for me. But I'm very happy and excited about the things that are happening. Eating clean is very important. Yes. I'm not quite there yet, but I am looking into it, doing my research. Monica, I can suggest an app. It's called Down Dog. And before I did YouTube, before I made any of my own money, right, and I didn't have a lot of excess money at that time, so I wasn't able to pay $60 a year for the app. I messaged them. I explained my situation. I didn't have credit cards or debit cards or any of that, and I offered to send them a money order. And they were like, listen, just take 6 months for free, and then you pay half price a year for 3 years. So I pay $26 a year for full use of everything on the app. It's called Down Dog. And I use that. Now, if that's still a lot for you, you can go on YouTube and find yoga. I mean, just find someone that you like. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be the first person you come across. There's thousands. Or I think Gaia, the Gaia streaming service, I think I pay $6 a month for that. It could even be $4 a month that I pay for that. It's super cheap. And they have all kinds of healing meditations. They have all kinds of yoga, alignment yoga. So Gaia, Gaia, it's an app. If you have a Fire Stick or like a Roku, not only do they have all these meditations and really great ways to align and just amazing, all of their content is like George Norrie has a show on there. Like, it's all about you know, otherworldly, paranormal, mainly extraterrestrial, but the healing parts of it, how we heal ourselves, our planet, others. It's just an amazing app that is so forward thinking. And like, if YouTube, if the paranormal and ufology communities were a streaming service, they would be Gaia. Like, it's just amazing. Gaia meaning Earth as it is. I would recommend that to everyone. And I think they do a week trial. Gemma, seems the universe is teaching you the only necessary to bring happiness in your life is you. It's a very painful lesson I learned years ago. Still working on that. Exactly. You know, Jules, And I am learning that. And I know my karmic baggage through lifetimes is romantic relationships. Like, I just know that because I keep dealing with all this stuff surrounding that aspect of my life. And I find that the happier I am in and with myself, the happier I am in life. And that's why, you know, all this personal stuff going on, it definitely needed to happen. It happened the way it happened, but it's also been healing in a way for me and the other person, because sometimes you have to take a total step back to be like, oh my gosh, like I was a lunatic. I was not easy to live with. I was miserable because I was so focused on self. But in life, yeah, I am learning that the more okay I am with me, the more okay I am, you know, and not from a narcissistic or ego driven way where it's like, I know I'm awesome. So, you know, if you don't think so, not from that place, like at least I'm working on me. I'm comfortable with me. I'm not perfect. And that's okay. And like understanding that I don't need to be perfect to feel significant or to be wanted. You know, I just have to be, in my opinion, genuine and honest and truthful. And then, you know, abundance, which is my birthright, like it is everyone else's, is going to come. The deeper, the cleaner it heals. Oh, yay,
I
Smoochie.
was just trying to find it to put it up there for you.
Very, very good. You're going to be your grandma again on Friday. I'm excited. I don't have any grandkids yet. I'm excited for you guys. Be kind. Are you subscribed to Gaia? I would recommend it. Highly recommend it. I watch it almost every night. Be kind. Yes, that is a major life lesson for me as well. I think that's part of my spiritual path, is to learn um that exact lesson right there, to stand in my own strength and disregard others. And again, not in a, you know, egotistical or narcissistic way, but just to understand again that I'm enough. I just am, you know, and that I'm okay. It's okay to be me. I don't have to be someone that I'm not, or anything that I'm not. I don't have to be anything or anyone inauthentic. Thank
That
you,
means I can go back to the
Monica.
basement. Okay, she don't need me
No, get
anymore.
back in the basement. I mean,
Okay, I'm going. Hey, I
I
like those.
thought Gaia was new.
No, it's been around for a while, a couple
I
of
had
years.
never seen it before, and I was like, "What is this?" And then once I was like hooked. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, they have the show Life After Life, was one of the first things I watched. Some of it is a bit on the fanatical side as far as religion, but that's the great thing about it, is that other things are on the least fanatical side as far as so it's so balanced out. Um, be kind, you know what? And that is so true. Unless or until you find your twin flame. But I feel like that's the key, right? When we're not focused on something that we want really badly, that's when it starts happening for us. And the reason is because we're no longer telling the universe, like if you're focusing on your ex, uh who was, you know, for whatever reason it didn't end, good or bad, it just didn't work out. Not didn't end, didn't work out. Once we stop focusing on that, because that's a focus on lack, that's when the universe will start presenting us with opportunities. But again, if you're strong, if you have standards and boundaries that you're not willing to allow anyone else to step over or break, you're going to meet with a lot of opposition, because not that many people, unfortunately, in this world are self aware enough to say, no, I deserve better than that. Or, you know, that's just not for me. You know, you agree with that and that's fine. But, you know, even adults can't do that, right? We can't go to the person we spent the last 4 years with and say, look, this just isn't working for me. Something feels off. Let's end it. Like, no, we have to stay for 12 years and end everything violently, you know, because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings way back in the beginning when we knew it wasn't going to work out. It's the human condition. Sunny Bear, what's up? Be kind. You are going to so accomplish your mission no matter what it is, because you are strong and you are fierce and you are a beautiful light. Everyone in here is. That's why I just love um, being around you guys. I never leave my live streams feeling worse. Ever. Not ever. Even if a Wednesday night I'm feeling like the scum of the earth, absolutely hating myself, hating the way I look, tired, dragging myself to the chair, within 15 minutes I am happy to be there and not wanting it to end. And that's you guys. That's your energy that when I say send love, light, and peace to so and so, you guys do it, and so will feel it. So when you guys say that you're sending it to me, I stop for a minute and I feel it. And then I'm not used to that. I was a little girl who grew up, my books were my friends. You know what I mean? I still have very hard time interacting with people. Like Ghost Dragons, he's like this other kind of nice, this not to put you on the spot that you're right here, but you are a whole different breed of person than I am. Like, I'm sarcastic, I'm kind of like easily annoyed, and I'm just like don't know how to interact and communicate with people. And you're not like that at all. You're very friendly, outgoing, you're always the same. Me, like, my moods are constantly shifting, and I think that's why we get along so well, though, because you're very easily able to accept me, and I'm easily able to say, hey, sorry, I was just being a real jerk about that. I don't know why I
And
did
then
that.
when I say, okay, you're fine, I go in the room and beat the crap out of everybody else.
Well, Ghost Dragons is one of those people, like my oldest son, who I think I said this last week, who like apologizes for apologizing. And that drives me nuts. I'll be like, no, you're fine. And he's like, okay, sorry. And I'm like,
I
stop
want to say something
apologizing. And he's like,
about
okay,
that.
sorry.
I apologize to those I care to. So when I apologize, I mean it in sincerity. And the other reason I like to apologize is because so they know I'm listening, that I'm being attentive to their needs. That's why I say it. It's just a way of me being formally polite to everybody.
I just
I know it drives people nuts, and it's okay. I get it.
no, and we're just a different, I think it's just how we were brought up. But what I'm saying is it's so incredible that so many different kinds of people can come into the stream. I don't think any of us leaves feeling worse. I hope that we don't. And as long as my stream that I'm putting up makes people feel better for having been there, I'm good with that, and I'll keep doing it. Um, like the pre-recorded content, it just became tedious, and I didn't like doing it anymore. And I was like, you know what? As soon as I don't like doing something anymore, I'm not doing it. And that's why I stopped, and that's why we're doing this. Blue Crossroads, you are 1,000,000%
Yeah, I
on
was going to
point
hit
with
that
that.
up here. That's nailed right there. Oops. You're messing with me, woman.
Blue Crossroads said, I would say if you're looking for a mate to complete something inside of you, then your problem is not a mate. The problem is within yourself and can only be corrected within yourself. And that's so true. And that's a lifelong lesson, I think, through lifetimes that I've had to learn. Um, the human condition makes everything so complicated. Um, and I'm
Something
still
about it
self
makes
conscious
me.
sitting here like I just literally talked for 2 straight hours.
That's all right, and I'm totally enjoying it, and everybody here is enjoying it. It's your show, it's your channel. I'm just here to kind of keep an eye on chat. Make sure you don't go crazy.
Monica, you know what? I appreciate that statement very much, but as far as the way people look on the outside, there are always those that are going to judge people based on how they look, right? But I'm 39 years old. When I'm 50, I'm not going to look like this. Do you know what I mean? And that's why you guys know, a lot of you guys see it, like when people come in and they're like, OnlyFans for Gemma, or, oh, Gemma's good. And I'm just like, I know how I look. Like, are you aware that, I have 120 something IQ? Are you aware that I'm a published, like, are you aware of any of these things? And it's not bragging, but I do want to like grab them and be like, do you know anything about me other than how I look? No. So don't ever think because you're not the prettiest person in a room, that you're not more interesting than the prettiest person in the room. Looks fade, looks mean nothing. I'm attractive, but attractive is not what's going to keep someone with me. not someone I want to be with anyway, if they're just with me because I'm physically attractive.
And there is
And
more than meets the eye there, believe me.
right. And I thank you. I appreciate that. I never want anyone to ever feel less than, because my looks have taken from me throughout my life way more than they've ever given. I didn't learn a sense of independence. I didn't learn a sense of personal responsibility or accountability. Um, those lessons were not things that I learned until very recently. I didn't learn that I could do things for and by myself because other people will do them for you. You know, I grew up with a dad calling me a princess, and, you know, my mom being happy in her marriage where the woman does the housework, and, you know, and that was great for her. But for me, that's what I was taught is like the must. So why should I have to get a job and work? And why I didn't understand independence. I didn't understand responsibility, accountability, all those things that I think I would have learned had I not looked the way that I did. Or like maybe I was very focused in high school on studies and on going to college. I wanted to work for the FBI. I think I told you guys this, but I got distracted by the attention I was suddenly getting from boys. And I had my first child at 16 and dropped out of school. So, how different my life would be, you know? But then I wouldn't be who I am, right? And where I'm at right now. So, you do look great, Blue Crossroads. All of you guys look great to me. Your energy is amazing. And I do. I
Then when
go
I
off
get off, I take off all this human makeup and go back to being a dragon.
10 rambles. So Ghost Dragon sent me this awesome dragon, pet dragon that I wanted to name like Drakthar. And RJ's like, no, his name is Ricky. So I now have Ricky the
Ricky, I
dragon.
love it. Ricky the dragon.
So random. I don't even think he knows anyone named Ricky.
He's named VD.
Yeah, that
Teamwood.
mom, absolutely me too. 100%. And you know, because I was taught that that was okay. Um, all right, guys, I'm gonna end it here. I think their movie ended. We're all gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna spend the day with my other two baby boys, my 23 and 18-year-old babies tomorrow. And I'll see you guys Wednesday night at normal time for Live Intuitive Oracle. Um, what else? Thank you so much for the donations, PayPal, Cash App, Super Chat, Super Sticker. I always appreciate them. They do go back into the channel for the most part, or, you know, they go to something, something not bad. So, I was gonna say they pay bills sometimes, but I'm like, eh. No, thank you guys so much. I know it's rough out there right now, especially with the holidays. I have the holiday boxes. I still have the spiritual helper boxes. I have the holiday scents. I still have fall scents. I still have the custom made scents, which are my favorite because then I don't have to actually stick to any kind of plan. I just kind of feel you out and send you what I want to send you. I have the crystal packets for chakra alignment and anything really you can think of. And hopefully I'll get that website up soon. I have copies of all three of my books on hand right now. So if you want a signed copy, email me, GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com. Jules, I will have your reading for you Thursday night at the latest Friday morning. Okay, that's a guarantee. I'm making sure that happens. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday night. Sunny Bear, thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Sonny,
I'll
for
reach
coming
out soon. I've got some drastic changes happening, kind of, again, coming into a better place. So be kind. You're always welcome to hang out. You don't have to be let. Just come on in and own it. Steven, I'll message you before bed. And night, guys.
Much love.